2 billion columns. I can have 2 billion columns across. It can go on like that. 2 billion columns for a key. 2 billion. Nobody will use it, but it can go. If your infrastructure support, I can have 2 billion columns for a key. Yeah. And because wide row, then you querying is a big issue.
2 billion columns per key or in row?
Yeah, so many. So imagine this is a key, and you can continue to add column and values. 2 billion.
And that doesn't have any space impact on the ones that don't have those columns.
Yeah, exactly. There is no.
Okay.
There is no.
So now I understand why this whole big data is based on customer-centric thing.
It is.
So they want to understand every facet of my life.
You need it. Absolutely, I agree with you. I need a slice and dice. I have to do it at performance, right? If I don't answer your question, hey, who is following who right away, and nobody is following. So yeah, that's a very good use case. Again, this cannot happen at all. And there's a lot of tuning that you can do. Server-side tuning, your query tuning, the setup tuning, that's actually much different ball game. I can direct the traffic. There are 2 ports. One is a SQL port, one is a binary port. That's how Cassandra works. I can split the traffic on different network interface cards. Each network interface can address different ports so that I can increase the read and write performance. They don't step on each other when it comes to resources. So to that level, I can tune this infrastructure. There are like 50 or 60 variables. Yeah. Writes are atomic, isolated, idempotent. You can repeat the same, you get the same result all the time.
Except non-performance.
That's it. Hash tables. Any questions on this one?
With the denormalization, who is handling that with the application, or is it
We have to design a model like that. I'll store department ID in every table that I want to query. I don't go back to join department. What is the name of the department?
Right. And so Cassandra takes care of if you're writing out something with the given department ID or whatever, it writes it in all the.
That you have to manage it from client side. You know you created multiple dimensions. It has everything. When you update it, you make sure you have all the information.
So you do all the updates.
Yes.
The client does all the updates.
Yeah, client side is a responsibility of the client.
So that's the.
That's again a design and modeling. Right? You need to spend time.
Is there a concept of read consistency?
Yeah. Collections, columns. You can have user-defined types in 2.0. I'm going to talk about collections here. You can store collections as well. A typical Java developer knows collections, map, list, set. You can store. I'll probably make sense when I show next slide. And now, how do you model? You go backwards. Some of the principles here. You have to consider all this when you define what I want to do with that data. Right. Denormalize. That's a new mantra. Yeah. Forget again.
I gotta tweet that.
You were loading it. And try to avoid this. Because the app looks like an RDBMS app if you do it. So,
So when you're trying to assemble the data, though, right? You talked about data models. You can have rows with lots of columns, right? But when you're trying to put the data together like that, you're having to join it from different sources to get it like that.
No. When you insert it, you have to arrange from the client side before getting it there.
Right.
Your data should be arranged. You just go and insert it. So make sure you have all the data client application available to create that dimension.
Okay.
So it's not like you take the data from Cassandra, you can do it. But when it comes to creating that new model,
In
you
Cassandra.
make sure you have the data.
Okay.
When you update it, it doesn't really take it from there. You just have to orchestrate it yourself. So don't try to change the key. You'll regret it.
Are there data type constraints
On
for a given column?
no, all the supported ones. You can,
So is there like a drop, what do you use?
you can truncate table. There's some. You can add a column, delete a column. You can do pretty much some of the standard stuff.
So isn't there a possibility of a lot of junk data ending up in the system at the end of the day? Are there any cleanup activities done or anything like that?
Data is yours. You manage it. System doesn't. What if it takes care of sensitive data gone away? So do you agree with that? So it's your data. You have to manage. Use the infrastructure in such a way that you build your model like that.
Maybe it's referring to tool stores.
No, since we are saying
It
this
supports
is
delete
not a-
something, so use it in a way that you want. Yeah. It has all the SQL statements you can do.
So does it promote less discipline because you are saying this is so cheap, I'm gonna, maybe we won't enforce so much of discipline because RDBM has it enforces certain discipline. We are
You have to be disciplined.
It's
Because,
up to
you
the
have to be disciplined. What data model, what is my pattern looks like? What I'm going to do? What is the performance I need? What is the consistency level I need? It's up to us to decide it. Right. So create table, somebody asked. Doesn't look any different. And I'm creating compound primary key here. Sorting.
But it's not in the real standard query.
But this is all one.
Yeah,
What is OOTP?
out of the box.
So if you insert some text into a numeric column,
Get an error.
Glow.
Get an error.
okay.
Make sure you handle exception in the front end.
Okay.
Your data center might go up.
That's the good use case.
Yeah, this is typical. You get all this online, SQL documentation. There's no difference. Yeah. This is one query on the secondary index. You can do map. You can store a map. Advanced.
Can it do human images, facial expression? Can you store that?
You can store binary. Picture, image.
As a blob.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Yeah.
identification.
Yeah, you can do that. Set, you can store a set list. Typical Java. If you are coming from Java world, you know all this set and list. And you can insert it as, and there is a limitation of 64 KB, right? On the set and list, yes. Zoom. Show.
How much time do I have? Or is it over?
No.
How much do you want?
How many?
I'll take 5 minutes.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
All right. So,
Take more than
I'll just get on to the architecture over here at S5 and basically get onto the data tier mostly because that's what we have been talking about here. We tried variety of databases and in the end what we figured out was different type of data needs to be stored in different database. And one of the issues that we faced check. So one of the biggest issues, and that's one of the negatives with Cassandra that I'm going to talk about here, is that really, if we want to run aggregate queries, we can't do that on Cassandra. It's all distributed. It might be changing in the next version. I think Cassandra 3.0 has some basic stuff in there for aggregates. But apart from that, we used Cassandra. We have two different Cassandra clusters. One is where we primarily use it as key value store. The other one is where we are storing digital content, and he was asking about images. We actually store images in the Cassandra file system. So the one of the Cassandra clusters we are using as a master data store. We are not using Apache Cassandra. We are using the DataStax Enterprise version. It comes up with a lot of bells and whistles in there. All the data is meta model driven. So there is a auto schema generation, which is not like really a create table happening there, but there is some sanity in terms of system knows how the data is stored and what that data means. We are running regression analysis. Millions of rows are generated out of those regression analysis just thrown at Cassandra. It takes it pretty nicely. No issues. We have tested this on a very small cluster. It's a 5-node cluster. We are maintaining a replication factor of 3, which means 3 copies are maintained for 1 million row. It is storing 3 million rows in the system. Most of the data is stored as key value pairs, straightforward. We also store serialized JSON or Java serialized objects in there as values, basically just byte arrays everywhere. We haven't found any issues with reads. We are seeing around 100,000 reads per second, which is what you showed in one of the earlier slides. And the second Cassandra cluster that we are using is basically we are using it to store digital content, documents, images, any sort of digital content that goes in there. Instead of just storing it in our own column families or tables, we are using Cassandra file system. Cassandra file system is basically an implementation of Hadoop's interface. So it gives us the replication of the files. The data is much more fault tolerant because of that. And again, the retrievals are pretty fast, hundreds of images per second. And the basic advantages, Sanjay has already outlined most of them. Yeah, it is a scale-out data management for us. There is a huge amount of bandwidth efficiency that is gained through compression across how the boxes talk to each other. Cassandra provides caching. We do some sort of LRU caching in Cassandra. The other thing is I can have async requests sent from my client, which means that I have fired a query, but I am not really waiting for the result. I might be firing multiple queries. What we do here is sometimes we are firing 128 to 256 concurrent queries, all going on different nodes. The client is configured as a token-aware client, and it might be firing queries in a round-robin fashion. So first query might be going to the first Cassandra node, second query to the second Cassandra node, and so on and so forth. Cassandra loves multi-threading. It takes in a lot of concurrent queries. General idea is that you maintain it around 4 times the number of CPUs. So 8 CPU box, 32 queries concurrent per box. We also use a lot of batch operations. Batch operations become very effective if the partition keys are same, which means the whole batch is executed on one node. If batch is executed across nodes, not going to get much performance. And one of the biggest features Sanjay talked about a lot is across data center replication. We just really love it. Otherwise, we see that backup scripts are written, backups need to be maintained, and data movement from one data center to another data center just as part of the disaster recovery planning. So these are a few things in there. And one more stuff that I would like to add is that you are using Solar, we are using Elasticsearch for all the textual data. And again, it's not related to Cassandra, but a lot of textual data, there is no need to store in Cassandra. In case you are going to be doing searches on that, just do the reverse indexing through Lucene. Elasticsearch is a layer on top of Lucene. It will just give you replications. It will auto shard your data. You don't have to worry about what's going where. And we are actually using Elasticsearch as a database rather than storing data in Cassandra and then moving it to Elasticsearch for search. We are using it as a database. The inspiration came from HipChat. HipChat guys use Elasticsearch as their data store. So, any questions?
So any security being implemented in the versions of Cassandra from a data security, encryption, those type of things?
Question too.
Yeah. So the question is there any security being implemented? For us, we have a multi-tenant architecture, so it becomes very important that each tenant's data is separated out. As of now, Cassandra natively does not support any multi-tenancy, which means your application has to take care of that. So either you can create different key spaces for tenants or different tables, or you can get to the Salesforce kind of architecture where there is only one table and all tenants' data is in there. Deletes become a problem in that case. So yeah, security, you'll have to implement it on your side. Yeah, there is authenticator, password-based authenticator for Cassandra. So
you can use Kerberos. If you are aware of Kerberos, you can do Kerberos.
you can do Kerberos.
You mentioned regression. Is there a linear algebra package or libraries that you're using?
No, this is S5's proprietary algorithms.
Okay.
So we run those algorithms, generate. There are certain things like life cycle of an item, curve, life cycle curves, seasonal curves. All of that is S5 proprietary stuff.
Can you say what you are trying to solve with this?
Oh, right on that. So we are solving supply chain planning and analytics. Traditionally, supply chain planning has been provided by companies like iDo or SAP, and then analytics has not been provided by most of these guys. There are some very niche vendors. And then reporting has been provided by business objects or Tableau. What we are trying to solve is bring all those three elements onto the same platform.
So, how does digital content fit in?
That's images basically. It's we are currently working on retail vertical. So when they push in data about their items, image is one of the stuff, and so we decided to separate out the cluster for images. We wanted replicated storage available. Cassandra file system came and rescued.
And when you said you said something about clients token aware.
Yeah.
Who are the clients here?
So my calc engines and my servers, they are the clients here. They are querying Cassandra.
Okay, so which is your system?
Yeah.
It's not someone like a customer.
Our own system. They are token aware, so instead of just randomly picking a node, if the primary key is available, it can go to the correct node. But that, again, is not really guaranteed. It's an intent that is provided.
And you are planning to you are planning to stand up this platform and do what you're trying to sell it to retailers, or you're
So yeah, we have sold it to two. We are in pre-production. We will be going live with some of the features in December with one of our clients.
okay. So your infrastructure is one, right? So in that particular case, you have two clients. Is it two separate infrastructure you're talking, or is it a multi-tenancy?
Now that I need to get my legal guy in here. Architecture can support multi-tenancy, but based on how our customers are going to sign the legal document, we'll have the shared infrastructure or dedicated
Okay, so you
infrastructure.
get the support.
Yeah.
Mohit, would
Yeah?
you like to share your approaches? How did you approach the data modeling aspect
Oh,
when you picked
yeah,
Cassandra?
and actually I'll just add on to what Sanjay has already mentioned multiple times. Traditionally, we have always looked at data as something that's going to come from outside. We'll build a table against how the data is going to come, and then we do all sorts of engineering in terms of how we are going to read it. Over here, it's the other way around. Actually, start writing your Java APIs and Java code without even thinking about what your table structure is going to be. As your code is evolving, you exactly know what kind of tables or dynamic tables that you will be needing. So, understanding your data access pattern is of much higher importance than just simply bringing in the data there. There are no magic wands like create index, even though you can create it, but it's not going to help you that much. There are no such thing as materialized views and stuff, even though Cassandra might be going in that direction. But it's very, very important that you know what the data access patterns are going to be. And based on that, you'll create your tables. And it is okay to repeat the data again and again in multiple tables. In Oracle, you might have data in one table. In Cassandra, the same data could be there in 5 different tables with all the columns, but having different types of primary keys, so that your select queries, they are just going to a particular node and getting the data that's needed. And that's where Cassandra's speed comes into play. Otherwise, it will be a sort of full scan kind of stuff happening across the cluster, which you can add, would say around 300 nanosecond latency between the boxes very easily. And if there are multiple round trips, things are not going to be running fast.
I'm just curious. I'm trying to figure out why whoever designed this way thought it was a good idea. Just like trying to think through something. I think I guess the person that's designing is thinking, I want to design this in such a way that when I write my query, I want it to be efficient as opposed to worrying about how my data is coming in. Is that correct, or am I completely off base? Like why?
No, you are actually correct. In Cassandra, the data modeling takes that direction. That the query is not very complex. The query has to be very simple, and hence most of the time will be spent on designing the data model rather than coming back to the query, designing the query. So in RDBMS world, we have all done it. We would write like 5-page big queries with 1,000 joins and everything in there. It takes a lot of investment to do that. In Cassandra's world, the investment has moved to data modeling, but your queries are very simple.
It's a model that in such a way as how
That-
it be
yeah.
queried, so that I don't have to worry about my queries.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I think, because as you said, Sanjay, Facebook has started the Cassandra project initially. Now, who is, I think they themselves, they are not using it. But who is enhancing, who does the enhancement?
It's the
Apache Foundation.
Apache, is it?
Actually, it's basically the data stacks
Data
guys
stack.
going through the. Those are the guys who are writing the code.
There are many.
Apache chair. Apache chair.
Apache chair is Jonathan Ellis.
He's the data stack CTO.
So
He runs the whole community.
Huge community.
Committers. He trains them.
Then he goes to workshop again.
Any applications? All about SAP HANA. Is anything that you have dealt with SAP HANA, because SAP HANA is way far beyond any other tools on the market. Have you come across anything like that?
That's Cassandra, like I mentioned earlier, Cassandra does not do aggregate queries because you will have to fetch the data. You can't say select sum column 1 from table 1 and stuff. You will have to fetch the data and do the sum. And that was one of the biggest issues that we faced with Cassandra, and so we moved to Vertica. We moved all the data that was needed for running reporting or aggregates into Vertica. Vertica is also a columnar database, and it is also distributed. It provides ANSI SQL, and I think it is SQL compliant. There are a few quirks that it has with its own SQL, but apart from that, most of the analytic queries can be run here. And that's why we picked Vertica to do that job. Cassandra was not right for that kind of stuff. So SAP HANA is again on that direction. If you want to run some of aggregate queries or reporting queries, yeah, SAP HANA fits the bill. There shouldn't be comparison between Cassandra and SAP HANA because Cassandra is a specific key value store. Not a very good use of HANA.
I was trying to think through the supply chain domain.
Yes. So yeah, we are using HP's Vertica instead of SAP's HANA for that thing.
Did you evaluate before you picked Vertica? I mean, in that same space?
Not really. Actually, I evaluated HANA when I was in E2 Open.
Price-wise, maybe Vertica is more suitable.
Vertica worked out better for us.
HP, right?
Yeah. HP. And Vertica was developed by that guy,
small company,
Mike Stonebaker, the guy who did Postgre SQL, and then he did Vertica, and he has a new one in works. Forgot the name.
Yeah, you say it's capturing big market now, 30%.
Yeah. For analytic data stores, Vertica is one of the prominent ones.
How many nodes of Vertica do you have? How many nodes?
How many nodes of Vertica? So currently we are running 3 nodes for Vertica. Vertica is not as scale out as Cassandra. Cassandra I can run on 16 gig boxes also, 32 gig boxes. Vertica, I really need to go slightly bigger, 94 gig boxes, and so on and so forth. And so, yeah, it scales out to a certain extent, but it needs to scale up as well.
So what is the front-end tool you use for the reporting on the Vertica?
Front-end, do you know Pascal? Anyone knows Pascal? There used to be like a old-time language.
Pascal.
So if you have ever seen that, 1980s style interfaces, that's how you get onto Vertica. It is a 1980s style interface. It is not really your Toad or anything which you will get onto Vertica.
They're still working on it.
Yeah. So
that's not hard, actually.
It just pushes you back in time.
They have to move to COBOL before moving to Java.
Is that what your customers use? Is that what your customers use?
That's the reason I asked. What is your customer using to get a report? Because I know that.
Oh, okay. My customer is right there at the web layer. They are using a regular web client to get into our system.
That's your system. You're not using like a Tableau or anything like that?
No. But for reporting, we are doing certain things with Jasper reports, mostly for PDF generation. But apart from that, rest of the visualizations and stuff is our own.
As far as using a Jasper server,
Uh,
or just embedding Jasper.
Embedding Jasper into our own server, because running it separately, it really just it didn't work out very well.
Are you able to find Cassandra developers in DFW?
Anyone interested?
Well, after the workshop. After the workshop.
The question was, am I able to find Cassandra developers? So
So could you also talk about